So speaking of the UK, current Prime Minister Keir Starmer has resigned. He has announced yesterday, it was announced a few days ago during the weekend that he was going to resign, but then yesterday they formalized it. He made an announcement and had this whole sob ceremony of him. I love Britain and I'm stepping down because I love Britain and it's best for my people. But we all know that's a bunch of bull crap. I don't think there has been any prime minister in the UK in the past few decades that has actually loved the British people and done what's best for the British people's interests. They always prioritize third world hordes, Muslims, browns and blacks, because that's the preferred minority group that they cater towards always. So we don't believe this guy. But let's watch this video. This is him resigning from the UK Prime Minister seat.
The question my party is asking now is whether I am best placed to lead us into the next general election.
No, you're not.
I have heard the answer of my parliamentary party to that question.
It is not.
And I accept that answer with good grace. Every decision I've taken has been about putting the country I love first. That is why I will resign as leader of the Labour Party. I have spoken to His Majesty the King this morning to inform him of my decision. I will ask the National Executive Committee of the Labour Party to set out a timetable with nominations opening on the 9th of July and completed by the summer recess. The question my party is asking...
So that's Keir Starmer yesterday. Later in his speech, he starts sobbing. Oh, I did everything because I love the British people. We all know that's such bullcrap. We all know that's a load of horse poop. And so why did he resign? And so there's a lot of people who say it's because of the rape gang inquiry report. And that's part of it, because as we all know, when Keir Starmer was the director of public prosecutions, he let go of 13,000 of these rape offenders with a warning letter. So he's obviously under fire for that. But there's a lot of other reasons why he's under fire. Remember the elections last month? The local elections across the UK? The Labour Party got crushed. Last month, they lost around 1,500 council seats. And also, obviously, plummeting polls in popularity. I think he has like a 19% approval right now. Everyone in the UK hates this guy. Policy missteps, completely doing nothing to advance the interests of the British people. Obviously, he had a bunch of scandals, like we mentioned, the rape gang inquiry report, revealing that he was complicit in allowing these hordes of Muslim Pakistanis to rape young white British girls. He also appointed Peter Mandelson as the U.S. ambassador. But Peter Mandelson, this guy, he has ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And this is all known, by the way. It's not conspiracy. And so people found that to be very distasteful. And obviously, internal party mutiny. Like he said, oh, the Labour Party has spoken. They don't want me as the leader. Yeah, because you suck. You're awful. You have done nothing for the party. And so even if I was in the Labour Party, I wouldn't want you. I would want you to step down. Now, what's next? What's next is that there will be no general election because the British prime ministers, they derive their power from the commanding confidence of the House of Commons, the British Parliament. And so right now, the Labour Party unfortunately controls most of the Parliament. And so they'll be moving on to elect the next leader of the Labour Party, which is going to be, his name is Andy Burnham. Now, Andy Burnham, who is this guy? Look at this guy. Queer kids deserve safe schools. This guy is Keir Starmer, but worse. They took Keir Starmer and they replaced him with Keir Starmer and worse. Like, look at him. Same, just soy boy physiognomy, the glasses, just completely bending over backwards for the Rainbow Mafia and the Muslim invaders. But here's what this guy supports. Men and women, safe spaces. So, of course, transgenderism and transsexualism, open borders, using HMOs to house illegal migrants, fully supports Israel, taxing landowners, farmers into oblivion, redistribution of equity, the corrupt European Union, all around communism. So he is just another gay race communist, as is most members of the Labour Party in Britain. This guy is not great. He was the mayor of Greater Manchester from 2017 until the present, and then he was recently elected to the British Parliament to become a member of the Parliament. But right now, according to the 2021 census, Muslims make up roughly 17 to 18% of Greater Manchester's population, which is about 500,000 people. 500,000 people. 500,000 Muslims in Greater Manchester. He allows this, and he's all about protecting them. Right? Burnham generally speaks highly about Muslim communities as an important and valued part of the region, saying that Islam is a part of the UK's fabric. His public positions include opposition to Islamophobia, criticism, and support for Greater Manchester's multicultural identity and religious diversity. This guy is Keir Starmer, but worse. Like, he's more completely outspoken and brazen about it. And now, like we mentioned, the rape gang inquiry, he was also part of the authorities that told police to stand down because if you were to arrest these Muslim Pakistanis, it would be racist and Islamophobic. He's the one that allowed social workers to return young girls back to their abusers. And this is all shown by whistleblowers. Tons of cases in Greater Manchester under Andy Burnham. And so this guy is just awful. This guy's absolutely awful. So we got Keir Starmer out, and you replaced him with the worst version of Keir Starmer. So we're expected to have Andy Burnham take the seat of Prime Minister of the UK starting next month. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that the UK politically has been so unstable. And this is true for every democracy. Democracy is a destabilizing force in politics and for your society. People think that, oh, we can have democratic accountability now if we let all the people vote. Well, not really. It actually introduces more political instability. You see this in Korea, you see this in the UK, you see this even in America. The more democratic our countries have become, the more unstable. Instability has risen, it's become more unstable. Just look at right now in America, living under Trump versus living under Biden. How drastically different is it? Social media, under Biden, the censorship was insane. People think censorship is bad right now. You have all these people who are very critical of Israel, and they keep saying, oh, we can't criticize Israel. We're not allowed to, while they do so openly on the platforms. If you did that 5 years ago, you're banned from all platforms. If you criticize COVID and the COVID response, the efficacy of the vaccines, you got banned immediately. I got banned. I got shadow banned. I literally got banned from Twitter for a few days because I said men cannot be women. I remember I was banned on Instagram for a few days too because I said this. I remember this very clearly. I said the funny thing about Black Lives Matter is that no one is saying that Black lives don't matter. No one's saying that. And I got banned for that. Like, what? The censorship was so bad, on top of the aggressive push for abortion on demand. You have tons and tons of just propaganda, LGBTQ propaganda, wokeness, race swaps, BLM, grievance politics shoved in your faces all day. You had the leaders of the military be transsexuals. I mean, it was horrific. And so literally, the whiplash you get from being under a Republican administration versus a Democratic administration is only getting worse. And then tensions are rising. Political division is increasing. It's not really, democracy is not a good system. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have democratic norms. By all means, I believe democratic norms in order to represent, to elect representatives who can vouch for your local community's interest to your leaders, your federal leaders. I think that's all good. That's all proper. one thing that we have to understand is that if you increase democracy, mass democracy, it's a destabilizing force. So even look the past prime ministers of the UK. Keir Starmer was only in for 2 years. The previous one, Rishi Sunak, which, by the way, the fact that you had an Indian as your prime minister of the UK is just a sign that you've been conquered. But he was only in office for a year and 8 months. Previously, Liz Truss, which is only 50 days. Boris Johnson, 3 years. Theresa May, 3 years. David Cameron, 6 years. And Gordon Brown, 2 years and 10 months. So none of them filled out and served out their whole entire prime minister term except for David Cameron. You cannot have a stable society and lead a country forward if it's constantly flip-flopping like this. Your leaders are constantly flip-flopping. It is so untenable. This is why, for me, I'm not the biggest proponent of monarchy. I'm still working through that. But a monarch, in terms of political stability and the health for a nation, is more sustainable. And it is more actually pragmatic and practical. That being said, Keir Starmer, people are celebrating his resignation, but the reality is his successor, Andy Burnham, will be no better. But the thing is, you see these prime ministers, and yes, they all suck, but the reality is they don't hold that much power in UK politics. The United States is ungovernable at this point because they're not controlled by the elected leaders. With Tony Blair, in the late 1900s, after 2 decades of Tory rule, he came in and he completely revolutionized and transformed UK politics, increased the administrative state, and outsourced all power to NGOs, these quangos, and these unelected bureaucrats, these unaccountable, unelected bureaucrats. And so even Keir Starmer himself said publicly, I pull the lever, I try to make changes, and nothing happens. Because they don't control anything. The courts, civil services, NGOs, the quangos, the administrative state, unelected bureaucrats, they're the ones that actually control UK politics. So unless there's a complete overhaul of the political system again, whether you have a right-wing or a left-wing prime minister, it's not going to change anything in the UK. And that's the state of it. That is the state of it. And so that's what happened. Tony Blair completely destroyed any semblance, in my opinion, of UK elected leaders leading the country forward and governing effectively. So then what's the solution? Well, my inclination would be for the king to come in and say, you know what, we're going to declare a constitutional crisis and we're going to restructure British society again so that we first and foremost deport all the foreign invaders and we prioritize the interests of the British people first. But secondly, hey, we're just going to get rid of and slash all of the corrupt courts and the NGOs and the unelected bureaucrats. You know who did that well and why their country is thriving right now? Nayib Bukele. He is a philosopher king. He is ruling with the iron fist. And one of the first things he did was go and attack and dismantle these corrupt courts, these unelected administrative bodies and unaccountable administrative bodies. And he said, no, we're going to get rid of all this garbage regulation and all this bureaucracy, and we're going to push our agenda forward. And that's what someone in the UK needs to do. Now, I know the king's not going to do it. King Charles, just give me a break. That royal family is toast. But if we have any hopes, it has to be someone like Rupert Lowe to come in and say, we are going to make drastic changes. You're going to follow me and we're going to win. And so I do believe the only viable political solution at this point is to amass massive political influence and seats, flip a lot of seats in the parliament, restore Britain, because conservatives aren't going to do it. Reform's not going to do it. We need Restore Britain to come in and completely overhaul the system. So to my British patriots out there, do not red pill. There is still a political process. Although it's slim, I will admit, there's still a political process to this. And so vote. Vote like your life depends on it. Get your family to vote. Get your neighbors to vote. Get your community to vote. Vote, 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 vote. Participate in the political process and in the elections. You saw so many. every single Restore Britain seat, every single Restore Britain candidate ran in the local and regional elections last month, they won. There's something changing. And so you must reclaim your country for God, for your family, for your descendants. Do not give up. Do not blackpill. And then if voting doesn't work, then then it's time to find other solutions. But until then, participate in the political process. Do not blackpill. Keep fighting for your country.